The president has more advisors than ministers. But the problem is the president advises the advisors on how to advise him. You know? So it's what you call a zero-sum game. You know? Nothing can change. And I want to tell you, my friend, my good brother.
Yeah.
I want to tell you today, and I want you to call me for another interview.
Okay.
Nothing will change in this country. It will get worse.
Question, when you're in office, what were the things that you achieved, you personally?
Two things only that I was allowed to do.
Okay.
I was not allowed to do many things. I was allowed to be the chairperson of emergency response.
Okay.
During the worst drought in 40 years, I made sure Kenyans did not die. They had food. I was all over the country. I made sure I mobilized food from international community, from NGOs, from the private sector, and fed Kenyans. I was in charge during El Nino. I made sure that people had food. People had non-food items. Red Cross was mobilized. I made sure that I did. Number two, I superintended over coffee reforms. For 2 years, I did a coffee conference in Meru in 2023. I instituted very practical interventions in terms of removing cartels that were fleecing the farmers. Today, as a result of the work that I did, coffee farmers are smiling all the way to the bank. When we came in, farmers were earning between 60 shillings per kilo up to 100. Today, as we speak, it's between 120 shillings to 200 shillings as a result of the coffee reforms that I instituted.
Okay.
The war on alcohol and illicit brews, I led that war very successfully. Young men had abandoned their homes. They were sleeping in trenches because of consuming illicit alcohol. I brought radical changes, shut down factories that were producing illicit alcohol, clamped on bars that were selling near schools. And as a result, we brought down the consumption of illicit brews, and people were very happy, families were very happy. When I left office, that program collapsed. The illicit alcohol is all over. Young men are drunk everywhere. Parents are crying, everybody is crying. Those are the three things that I was allowed to do, and I did. Had I been allowed to do more, I would have done.
So you had to be allowed to do your job?
Because I was the principal assistant to the president, and I was doing what he has asked me to do. Those are the things he allowed me to do without interference.
Ile kurauka kwa ofisi saa 10 asubuhi?
Those were delegated duties. What happens when you are the deputy president, you are allocated duties by the president, and on a day-to-day basis, he can send you to represent him out of the country like he would. He would tell you, go and represent in this function. So that was during the protests, and he was out of the country, and he instructed me to take charge. So I would wake up very early to make sure that by the time he calls me, I've got a very good picture of what is happening in the country. And I did manage the protests, and we didn't kill people. We just dealt with it with severity, using just what you call necessary force, and avoided shoot to kill. And we were able to bring down the demonstrations in an amicable manner and with very little
the Gen Z
injury.
protest?
No, the unga one. The sufuria one. That is the one I was in charge. That is the one that was in charge. The Gen Z one had nothing to do with it. I was opposed to the way it was dealt with from day one.
Okay, we'll get to that one.
Yeah.
Another quick fire question. Why is